ladies and gentlemen, friends and families, I present to you Hajji Dr. Roshan Khan of RK's Guyana Free Media.
Dearest beloved divine friends, family, in the raw, RK's Guyana Free Media, and I'm your host, Hajji Dr. Roshan Khan. I have in my hand, Saturday, March 13th edition of the Kaieteur News. And there are two articles written, or two letters, one written by Lincoln Lewis, and another one by Deodarie Putulall. I don't know if that's a real name or just a pen name someone has taken. I'm not usually one who read letters from Lincoln Lewis because Lincoln Lewis became extremely political and, to my opinion, lost his credibility, so to say, for respectability as a trade unionist and as a Guyanese commentator and giant. To such a point, friends and family, ladies and gentlemen, that even the people he campaigned for and the people for whom he was the candidate, the APNO, had removed him unceremoniously, to my opinion, in a very disgraceful manner to him. A man who was campaigning him from the Chronicle during 2015 to 2020 of the government of that time. Anyhow, I wish to first of all deal with a smaller article by Deodarie Putulall. And he's writing about, thankful that Parliament Square was rescued from the Cultural Barbarians. Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as Parliament was convened in 2015, I had security guard working right next door to where they had put up a very beautiful garden, well cared for and managed by the government of the day through the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. But as soon as the APNO government took Parliament, they terminated my guard service, and it was the whole beautiful place that was visioned by the previous government to be a place of relaxation, tourism, and meditation was put into the ashes, into the ground, so to say. I was very painful. I removed, one time you may recall, I led some Muslims of the Muslim core group at that time in the PNC government, or the APNO. You know, I don't talk much about AFC. To me, they really don't exist. They have lost everything. And therefore, whatever they enjoy in Parliament is the kindness of the People's National Congress. And I want to applaud the People's National Congress for trying to give them some seats, but I don't think they deserve it, and they didn't win even a seat. But that's a different matter, which I've discussed before, and maybe again sometime into the future. So, Mr. Deodarie Putulall, thankful that Parliament Square was rescued from the cultural barbarian. Dear editor, I was gobsmacked to learn that Parliament Square, the beautiful little garden located at the corner of High Street and Brickdam in Georgetown, was turned over and placed under the care and management of the mayor and councillors of Georgetown by someone of the central government level back in 2015. And if I may add, they did a terrible job. But when I took my people from the Islamic core group, the Muslim core group of the then Ministry of Ministry within the office, within the Ministry of the Presidency, the Ministry of Culture within the Ministry of Presidency, which had a Muslim core group, which I respect everyone, and also one of the current Member of Parliament of the PNC APNO bloc. And we did a beautiful job. We cleaned it up. His mayor, His Excellency, His Worship, the Mayor, Pantu Branch and the Rhine joined us. And there's a little building there that they used to store their fertilizer and equipment to maintain the lawn by the previous government to 2015, the PPPC. it turned into what you call a Guyanese parlor language, a S-hole. Because everybody would just go, the vagrants, the drug addicts, all the people with AIDS and all kinds of diseases, and defecate, and sometimes nasty forms of sexual relationships, people in the streets using it, and the whole place was filled, and we cleaned it very well. So I understand what he's trying to say. He's trying to celebrate that that place has actually been taken over by or rescued by the new government. Clearly, the decision to turn over responsibility for this facility that caused the taxpayers $37 million to create and construct the Georgetown municipality was made by someone who does not live in Georgetown or even Guyana, or someone who has got off his or her trolley. I think persons, Mr. Putulall, who have gone off, their trolley, gone off their mind, because City Council has this problem and its issues, and I'm not here to custom City Council, but they can't do it all. But this now brings a clarity as to why this facility deteriorated so rapidly and so drastically over the last 5 years. And two, all the expensive and beautiful palms and trees was stolen by vagrants and drug addicts to sell to get a smoke. And they didn't realize that. The Ministry of Tourism had 2 guards working there, 1 by day and 2 by night. And if we should lose a plant, we had to pay for it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we had to pay for it, because unless the guard turned that way, a vagrant jump over, pull one at the other end, but we will replace it. The City Council could not have done that. Poor management again from the previous regime that took power in 2015. I'm not anti anybody, but I speak what I want to speak from my heart and in truth. This facility was turned over from a beautiful garden and recreational park, a green patch, an oasis in the fast developing concrete jungle, into a night shelter for the homeless, a bordello, which means a place for prostitution, an outdoor bathroom, toilet, a trap house, a betting shop, and a haven for marauding robbers and muggers, all under the nose of the city constabulary, who failed to provide any security to this facility. What a beautiful thing the PPPC government had put up. And look what it became in the heart of Georgetown, next to Parliament. When they were going to Parliament, the APNO government, weren't they ashamed as ministers to know what they did to that place? What I want to know is whether the person who turned this facility over to the council ever visited the La Repentier Cemetery, now a wildlife reserve. I like you, Deodarie Putulall. You sound a bit like my friend Freddie Kissoon. Or the slaughterhouse on Water Street. And I was careful not to call it an abattoir. The constabulary training center also on Water Street, which is now bereft of windows, doors, and other fittings and fixtures and furnishings, or even City Hall. The quarters of the City Council, which an international consultant described back in 2013 as being in cardiac arrest. This guy is writing something like me, and in some, well, Freddie Kissoon, some of the words he used there is the style that I use. So salutation to you, Deodarie Putulall. And I could go on to altitude to a number of other municipal facilities, such as the Presidential Park on North Road, Old Smoky on Princess Street, the Barbershop Arcade on Merriman's Mall, etc., etc. The City Council reminds me of the old fable in Greek mythology about King Midas. Unfortunately, though, everything they touch does not turn into gold. Now, I just want to remember we used to have, those of you my age, the Raccoon newspaper from the University of Guyana, by a group that was called the Raccoon Group, or the Liberator Party, I think it was. And they had something called, but it described everything that folks Burnham touch. I remember that in my head. And I'm not saying so. They, the Ratoon group, said so. Everything that he touched, as I referred to him, everything Forbes Samson Burnham touched turned into shh. You should know what that word is. I can't use those words here. I don't have the makeup for that. I'm just so thankful that the park was rescued from the cultural barbarians and the square pegs in round holes, allowing it to be rehabilitated and restored to its former glory. Thank you, Government of Guyana, the doctor of urban planning, our president, the president of the people, His Excellency, Dr. Irfan Ali. I look forward to the removal of garbage from its perimeter, the return of lighting to the fountain, working again, to being able to relax there at the end of a hard day's work, or to enjoying some cultural activity that I hope will be routinely held there after COVID-19 is gone. Yours truly, Deodarie Putulall. Now, I completely agree with all of that. Do not expect Mr. Putulall or Guyanese for cultural activities there from the government. We, the people, have to do some cultural events there. And I am making an oath, once it's prepared, I will go and hold one or two cultural activities in league with other people, sometimes from the Universal Peace Federation. And sometimes I'll encourage my Hindu friends to go and do a sermon or an event there in the evening. And make sure you have your basic security. And also, nothing noisy and blasting. You have to be careful with culture. Some people believe culture has to be noisy, deaf, hurting your ears, vulgar, lewd. The government, through the Ministry of Tourism, that normally manages that, to my opinion, need to put out some guidance, and anyone who wants to use it need to inform the ministry that they're using it and that they cannot leave any kind of a mess or dirt or any kind of waste, that they will have to clear it off. So little things like a little bit of reading of poetry, a little bit of reading of books, and so on. It's a different kind of thing. But when you're going to have, whether Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Baha'i, whatever get together, or all together, or Peace Federation, or whatever event, we must politely inform the ministry about that. But for readings, they can and get permission. But for readings of poetry and so on, just a polite advisory to the ministry. Friends and family, your brother me, Hajji Dr. Roshan, and I will close here at this one here, so I could do the other one on Lincoln Lewis viewpoint on the police and DPP, saying thank you and farewell, friends, for tuning in to RK's Guyana Free Media in the Raw.